Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and another episode talking about the common sense that is returning to the world so naturally, because that is happening. What are the woke leftist liberals doing? Oh boy, they are having an absolute meltdown. You see, common sense to these people is like, I don't know, the Wicked Witch of the West and water. and water. It doesn't mix and they melt. Now, this freakout is happening by the woke activists because the US Olympic Committee has made a huge announcement for women's sports, and it's great to see. And when you do see it though, you're going to be thinking to yourself, as I did, this should have happened years ago, but again, it is great to see. Now, before we get into this huge piece of breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, if you could, make sure to leave a like rating, as it really helps out the video. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video. Comment on this video, share this video, become a member of the channel so you can support this channel going forward in the future. And the Daily Mail have reported Donald Trump gets his way with seismic ruling against trans athletes in women's sports. The US Olympic and Paralympic Committee has reportedly complied with Donald Trump's executive order banning transgender athletes from women's sports. According to NBC News, the committee updated its policies on Tuesday to reflect Trump's order and suggest that trans women will no longer be able to compete against biological females while representing USA at the Olympics and Paralympics. While the word transgender, however, is not mentioned in any of the 27 pages, its new athlete safety policy includes language that implies the change has been made almost a year on from the previous games in Paris. And we all know what took place in Paris, for example, with Aman Khalif, a dude who was allowed to compete in women's boxing, and what happened? He completely destroyed the competition and ended up winning a gold medal. Absolutely insane. This announcement in itself as well, when you sit here and think about it though, just shows you how crazy the world had become. There is no way men should be allowed to compete in women's sports. We all know this, it's wrong, and it goes against truth, reality, common sense. The USOPC will continue to collaborate with various stakeholders with oversight responsibilities, e.g. IOC, IPC, NGBs, to ensure that women have a fair and safe competition environment consistent with Executive Order 14201 and the Ted Stevens Olympic and Amateur Sports Act, the document says, according to NBC's report. The New York Times also reports that national governing bodies of sports federations in the US, which oversee sporting events for all ages, must now follow the Olympic and Paralympic Committee's lead, according to several chief executives of sports within the Olympic movement. Trump signed the executive order, as we know, to ban trans athletes from women's sports back in February, a move which some Democratic-led US states have chosen to ignore. And let's give a round of applause to those lovely and stunning and brave states like California and Maine, I believe. Hopefully we see some changes with that in the future, because again, it shouldn't be happening. I know these states care so much about the woke agenda, but it's time to wake up and realize what is going on. People are tired of it and people want it to end. But what a headline. Finally, women in the Olympics and Paralympics won't have to be concerned about a dude potentially turning up and competing in their sport. But it shouldn't be a concern for them in the very first place, because we should never have reached this point. We can all agree on that one. But ladies and gentlemen, that is what happens when you're told to tolerate delusion for so long. You know, you got to be kind, allow people to do what they want to do. Nah, no more. However, as I have mentioned, woke activists are melting down. So let's check out some of the videos that have been uploaded by these people.
The Olympic Committee has barred transgender women from participating in women's sports in an effort to comply with a Trump executive order, and it's bullshit.
I was a journalist and I covered this issue for a long time, and it is one that both is discriminatory and also thwarts research that we have about gender, athletic performance, and transition. Previously, to participate in the Olympics, transgender women already had to have gender-affirming care and keep their hormone levels at a highly regulated level.
Nobody cares, mate.
Among cisgender women, there is a huge range in what is normal in terms of testosterone and hormones, let alone the size and shape of our bodies. This decision is bad for all women because it means that anybody who does not fit a normative white idea of femininity is going to be subject to suspicion, questioning, or even worse.
A white idea of femininity. What is she on about? I've never heard so much BS in my life. It doesn't matter what hoops you want to try and jump through, these are men, right? So by default, they should not be competing against women. Plain and simple. But regardless of all the other crap she was saying, it is so bizarre to me, and I can never wrap my head around it, how these women will stand there and defend men competing in women's sports. They will advocate for it. Yet these are the very same women who every day on social media will talk about white straight men taking opportunities away from other women, yet there are men in women's sports, or there were men in women's sports, taking medals, places away from female athletes. How does that make any sense? To see these women defending it, mate, it's insane. Wait, hold on. The US Olympic and Paralympic Committee will now ban transgenders from competing against women, caving to the Trump administration. It's going down, folks. What's going down? These people need a lot of help, but let's take a look at this video of this guy filming himself in his car, because apparently that's what people do these days. Yes, he's shaking his head. Oh no, it's so upsetting.
The Olympics will not allow women who are transgender to compete in women's sports.
Just by his voice, you can already tell what side he's on.
The order that Donald Trump has long since passed. And obviously that executive order is an illegal executive order, but the Olympic Committee, the Olympic and Paralympic Committee, updated its policies in order to comply with that executive order. Despite not really technically being required to, they want to give in to the Donald Trump request. So anyone who's telling you that the Olympics needs to withdraw from the United States obviously doesn't really know much about the Olympic and Paralympic Committee, because they're not only failing to withdraw from the United States based on this quote regime, they are doing things like this, where they are allowing hateful policies enacted as executive orders that do not carry the full force of the law. They are using those as rationale.
You know, it's also so weird to me to see dudes defending men competing in women's sports. There is nothing more, I don't know, weak and cowardly that men can do than defend that. Because you're defending men going into women's sports and taking those places, awards away, etc., etc. You're defending men being able to compete in a physical sport where they can injure other women. Again, to defend that is cowardly.
Transgender women are no longer eligible to compete for the United States Olympic or Paralympic Games in women's categories. The committee cited Trump's executive order keeping men out of women's sports, which mandates the enforcement against schools and athletic associations that don't deny trans women the right to compete. The memo was issued by the USOPC, who oversees this and supports of the Olympic teams and games. This is so messed up. Not only is it just because it's an attack on trans women, but athletes get very, very few chances to compete in the Olympic Games, and many work for their entire lives just to accomplish a chance at representing the United States. I don't care what your gender is, anyone who works that hard, who puts in that much effort just to have a chance to compete, just to have a shot, should be able to, whatever gender they are. You know, trans rights are humans' rights. People need to stop being worried about what's in people's pants. It's weird. It's creepy.
It is weird, and it is creepy that people on the left, the liberals, will defend men going into these competitions, women's spaces, etc., etc. The points that dude came out with are so backwards, it is hard to believe somebody will sit there in their car again recording and come out with them. But then again, we all know what side these people are on and where they live, the land of delusion. Apparently, regardless of gender, if an athlete has worked so hard, they should be allowed to compete. Yet, you know, these trans athletes are still allowed to compete, just in the right category, and women who have worked extremely hard to get to those points do not deserve to have a dude come in and take that place or that award away from them. These women sacrifice a lot in that sport, and that shouldn't be thrown out the window just to accommodate some dude's feelings that really shouldn't be listened to. This is to make sure women's sports, at the Olympics especially, is safe and fair. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a bunch of interesting individuals not being too happy about this. I'm sure there'll be more videos of people whining, complaining, screaming, crying, because, again, common sense with these people, it doesn't mix well.
I'm melting! Melting! Oh, what a world! What a world!
Leave all your thoughts down below about this news, about these people reacting to it. I'd like to know how you guys feel. If you have enjoyed, once again, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video, share this video. But until next time, it has been your host JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out.